Easy now. Thursday, the 8th of August, 2019. As it might be, as it happens. Good evening, good day. Shabba. Let's come to do a quiet video. It is nearly 11 PM GMT, and that's GNT. Good evening. How are you here, JJ? It says there's no viewers, but I clearly see you. Anyway, good evening. Alright, brother. It's just a little quiet cast. Thought I'd come on to see the night scribes. I'll just say my little piece, have a chat with you, if that's alright. On this Thursday evening. To those that haven't seen, much of what I'm going to say, it's a fine old age where man speaks up and makes a stand and is in the correct, right position, but gets shot down, and not for want or love of passion, desire, righteousness, loses the battle. So that'll give you an indication as to where we're going. We have, I think, the United Kingdom is presently housing Julian Assange still. We have, this man here, after his outlay of information, which is important for all to know about covert and shadow operations within the government itself, revelations of that nature. Warrant you public enemy number one, so to speak. So, those that have made a stand and that have had bum information, that have gone on, when I say bum information, let's rephrase that have had information that is fallen on deaf ears, that in vain, things that, it may have been that there was ignorance and there was, harassment and common law breaches, but very seldom these aggressors, officious intermeddlers, interlopers, self-appointed authoritarians, debt collectors, court-appointed sheriffs, and etc. They are they are often testing you to see how far they can go. It's not a nice realm to be in, where they know they're doing wrong, but they will, infractions left, right and centre, with insurance, with abuse of the mailing system, non-contracting venues, PO boxes, legal things and court things coming through domestic. It's all over, it's rife, little things here and there that nobody really picks up on or notices or checks on. So they continue on, and to the fallen ones that are no longer with us, for the ones that have committed suicide over fictional debts. I just wanted to say that there is millions since. Let's go from, when can I start from? Let's get a date to go forward from. I'd say 1302, and you were in 2019. So if we detract, yes, that's how many years since 1302 onwards. And the fallen ones, fallen spirits, fallen souls, fallen minds, fallen communities, fallen continents, fallen empires, and to some extent, after 1302, there's been some, the Commonwealth, thing about that is that it's not all that common anymore. These countries, continents have sought after independence in their own, right outlay development, going forward. So I'd just like you to have the chance to put forward anything we ought to remember and give credence to. I appreciate it's a bit random, but I had a stark omen the other morning. I won't share that with you because it's mine. I'll keep that to myself. But I had an omen of change, of the end of things, a slap in your face, no mistaking omen. Okay, yeah, there's not many ways you could read into this one, but yes, I thank the universe for that, and I just in my works and development going forward, as I've had my head kind of in my own space, not on YouTube, Facebook or wherever for the last 24, 30, 40 hours, and I just thought I'd come and pop my head back up and say, easy scribes, let's say respect for the ones that have, you know, fallen for whatever reason, the suicide over, you know, family circumstance, pressure, you know, debt, confusion and fear. There's a lot of fear operating. I talked to some mechanics today, went in to see some mechanics, and says my back brakes that I've done with my mate are playing up. I says this little thing looks bent here, and he says that's not bent, mate. That's meant to pivot. That's in a good state. He says what's happened is your calipers come and seized. He says you don't need anything like that. He says we need to get the wheel up on the ramp and have a look and free off the caliper, and you know, if that's how it is, then that's how it is. So he's had a go at that, and he's gone up there and he's freed it off, and they've not charged me anything. And you know, this is the way the world operates. You know, trade as such. I says you don't want no money. He's like, no, it's all right, it's all good. You know, I says I thought something was seriously up. I need to go and maybe you know, load on a ferry close to 2 ton with a box on, and I take our lass to see her mum, and I want to make sure it's all right. So, you know, I says if it needs replacing, we'll replace stuff. So go back and see him next week. All is good. But he didn't want any money, and he was honest. He was open. He didn't try and fleece me for a caliper, for any kind of brake, aperture, cables. He just stood there, because from what you're telling me, he says I can tell you what that is now, and he says it will need freeing off and knocking round. Blah blah blah. It's not a bodge. It's completely safe. It happens from time to time. He says so. If you're all right with that, we'll get it you in on Thursday, and we'll get one of the lads to have a look at it. So I had a chat with him, and I told him what we do, who we know, you know, and I'm very grateful for his knowledge and trust, and for the time that the boys have had to take it over there and sort that out. So, world, great place, fantastic. What you make of it? But the ones that have fallen, these lost ones, lost property, lost souls, if you're considering it yourself, you know, in the back of your mind, you're putting on a brave face. We've all done it, and it's not good. You know, speak to Frank. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if you have spoken to Frank. I remember seeing that on the TV one day, but I think these untrained advisors as such, unqualified in many areas, because they are, you know, not they're indoctrinated. So we are seeing at the moment, what I'm coming round to is that we are seeing a great I don't know what the word is, but explosion, growth. Lots of areas are hitting jet streams at the minute, if you've noticed. Science, health, law, religion, fuel, you know, propulsion, you know, the way that everything's going there. The 5G, that worries me. 5G, I didn't know that. No, yeah, well, that does worry me, sorry. But the quantum, everything's moving very fast again. It's like we've hit another point, a pinnacle area. So we are not, man is not, our language, our understanding, you know, where we're at, how we are not, you know, moving very fast, but we're in this area now of which it's very critical time. A lot of areas seem to be either crumbling or getting to be patched up very badly. They're bailing and patching these systems, or they're insinuating of others, and they are getting lobbyists in, and they're moving, you know, the orchestra is playing a tune, and you know, the the boats and the fleet of the UN and the EU and the United Kingdom and the USA, and all the others. They are all a bit like what happened to Libya when they outed Gaddafi, and they went in and did what they did there. It's very concerning. So these areas that you are seeing are being brought before you now. You're very fortunate to have. I don't know how you're coping with it all, but there's a lot of areas to be researching again, isn't there? They've been caught with the pants down. The academic institution, I'm afraid, there's no getting out of this one. It's our response that they're not expecting. They was expecting a reaction, and a typical reaction, but we're devising and calculating and assimilating a rather fantastic amount of concise, very, very deep information that these governments, American, United Kingdom, European, they don't stand a chance against some of the intellect and the substance and the first-hand knowledge and the evidence that is being brought against the claims of the academic Smithsonian, monarchy and so forth, for these nations and countries and whatnot. So I see, and I'm struggling to cope with everything out there and how fast it's going, and I see that man is struggling to cope with knowing whom he is, and the most basics of precepts, which would be the conditioning of yourself and your actions. We will try our best with that, as best as we can, to hold hands and to eventually look to separate at that point of certification through a key competence test. Now, you're looking for a key. With these ones that have fallen, they was also looking for the key to get through the maze, to be the maze runner. I don't know, the key to the environment that you are in. And there are lots of keys out there. Everybody you meet is some part, of a key to unlocking a part of your character, a part of your body. And the more man's spirit, souls, that you encounter, electromagnetic connections of an organic nature. I suppose animals help. To be fair, the animals can't be left out, to unlock parts of characters. If you think what voices we put on and how we talk to the pets, and you can have the most, let's go for the most butch, Brutus of men there, and then you can have the tiniest of little dogs, and he can put on like a little cute voice, but then when his mates are around, he'll never do that because it will reduce him, and he feels he's got to have this bravado and put an act on it. You see, characters, everybody we meet, and every video you watch, I suppose, every bit of information you take on, it unlocks a different part of you, it ignites, it connects or you disconnect. So we've got a way to go. I'm very happy, but the ones that have fallen, I carry as a burden, not personally. I know it's not my fault, but we have a great many of the family in danger right now. Red danger, level 10, DEFCON, all that business, whoop whoop, everything. So I just thought I wanted to say respect to them spirits and them souls and them families that have been affected by the legal sanctioning and everything, the conjecture with souls and legal and man, and getting interfaced with it and getting confused with being a creditor, a consumer, a debtor. These things of which man never is and man never will be, but in this system that they've given to us, we've often taken it upon ourselves to fill those boots, to adorn that cap. Don't get me wrong, it's not a criticism of us. It's just the damage that it's done. It's there's too much. When you stand back and and I don't see everything, by far do I see everything, but I see the collateral damage to the family. I see that the public trust has been breached massively. Various trusts, hundreds of millions of trusts have been breached, and the output of which we've got is retarded, it's backwards, it's insubstantial. Pazio, oh, you're feeling that Pazio flavour coming on now. I'm doing a little bit of my little cookery here with the, here we go, we're off. So yeah, we're a little bit shy. We're too, you want some? Do you want some? You looking at me? You call me big nose again? Oi, Roman, and we appreciate, we have that reptilian part of the brain within us that will allow us to have that nature. We also have different parts of brain and consciousness, solidarity and understanding for ourselves. And, we have got to that point. I'm seeing, in a lot of areas that we are rising above. We are making ourselves proud of one another. We are, achieving some things which I would, never think I would see before I'd pass this realm. I'm no expert. I could say these various and many areas. We are together, but strength is coming. You're getting kick-ass strong. I'm very proud. Some of the emails that I'm replying to, some of the interactions that I'm seeing, some of the the kickbacks and the praise and the grumbles, and what stories we hear, foretold experiences going on. You are not going to take this lying down, and you are not being vexatious. You are not being malicious. You are not being adversarial. You're being professional. You're being, calm. You're being with clean hands, honourable, with conscience. You're playing a very, very good game here. But lest we not forget, this isn't a game, because we're here to honour the fallen. When you fall, you pass out, you check out, you kaput, finito. It's done. The all caps gets put onto the ledger, and the estates get moved and closed, and the house there collects them, and off we go again. They have the cheek to create taxes upon taxes upon taxes. Caesar's taxes are still running rife, on a true self-governing indigenous man or woman in private with trade, full functionality, status correction. You cannot be taxed. You cannot be taxed. No, we forget that the tax was a temporary injecture and gets taken out. That's why every April it's renewed every year and looked at and so forth. It's an absolute load, a proper load, and we take it. And our grandmas and our granddads have taken it, and they were honourable, good, strong. The ones before that, the war generation and the veterans that are fading out now. They've almost gone. The last of the poor little blighters that followed Churchill and others, executive orders and commands straight to their death, and the weapons and the machinery and everything that's gone off. When I say the fallen, this is a global network, YouTube, so it's not just Anglo English, Western. It's all the victims, the bloodshed, the new IRA. I called you out a few months ago. You make man's shit itch, honestly. It's just some of us are far sick of the bloodshed, and as I get older here and I see the repetition of the same old continuum of of social control. Fair enough, we don't have bloodthirsty battles, at the morning, and invading, villages and tribes coming upon us. But what we do have is an invasion and a supersession of our rights. But if our rights are given to us and set in stone, how are they moved, and how are we subservient? How has man become that subservient? We've ended up committing suicide, taking antidepressants, giving up the job, going on the sick, fighting with the family, running away with the secretary. These mad, crazy things that are happening, going to the Metropolitan Police in situations of which are civil and not criminal, which end up with them trying to meddle in, as much as the officers and the constables are in danger here of the euro intervention, and they will all lose their pensions and be whittled down to slave little, units of civil, social, criminal control, whether they like it or not. And we see what's coming, and we are willing to stand by the the constables and the officers to some extent with their rights, because they're our family. We don't ostracize anybody, but it comes to something where they don't know that they are practicing what they're practicing and stripping man of rights. And we have to come to educate them, and it often comes to a courtroom scenario where they've got their stars, their barristers or whatever it is, their purporting their actions upon, which is inflicted, not always, but sometimes, and then they have to answer for that, and then it's all, we're sorry, and when you apologise, it's all very well and good, but things need to be remedied and redressed. It just truly is. We're not here to fight violence or anything. This is a video to say we're sorry and we've failed. We will not fail anymore. We want no more bloodshed, and the legal manslaughter and sanctioning of the gods and goddesses of our family is not to continue. Call it a call out, if you want, to the ones of the elite privileged, enforcers. Yeah, civil enforcement. Okay, well, let's look at that, shall we, officers? Civil. If you are a civil enforcement officer and you're one that goes out there and you want to enforce civil law, well, for one, you're enforcing a code that is, valid and authenticated only in where it's issued and the authority from, which would be London, and that little central bit. Out of that little bit of London, it has no authority upon man, upon self-governing indigenous landlubbers of this realm. So if you want it to have jurisdiction outside of the square mile of London, then great, create consumers and citizens and persons and all of this, but then don't tell me that I am that just because of your ignorance and your plausible deniability to the true realm that man is in. Doesn't render you, indemnified in every way. You're open to what will come back that you try, to ignorantly and legally, but unlawfully, which would be stripping me of my rights via non-consent. And this is where we're at. So we won't tolerate that amount of in your face, that flagging off. Now, sorry, pirates, but there we go. We're being flagged off. That's what is known as the two fingers up in the Anglo realms, where you would sign language. Now we're going into, yeah. Good at the middle finger and the two fingers in the international gestures for. Very good. And that's where we're at. We're getting flagged off by the system, by the language, by the science, by the energy, by the the reduction of rights. They cannot be taken, I'm afraid. You're submitted, signed away, and ignored. Ignorance, and equity. Who slumbers on their rights. That's not who sleeps on the right hand side. That part of the maxim that's on about equity, and except he who sleeps on his rights. That means he who is ignorant, who is silent, who is forgetful. When you have amnesia, I've said it myself, okay, that we are like a species with amnesia. And when I was reading some of the pre-Christian Jesus Zero Gnostic text, what does it say? It mentions in some of the, I forget which, don't ask me which, because I'm still very fuzzy on this. It's very draining on my energy to assimilate this. I'm not bringing it out generally for all, but if you have looked at this, it says some parts about forgetfulness, and it's a job of the awakened, of the strong, to remind others, of their forgetfulness. When you are forgetful, you are doomed, and you are living in a life of doom. And what this system has done, this 2019 AI, 5G, wireless, application, handset, marvelation, it's disconnected you and I, and it's made us forget, and it distracts us, and it keeps us from the true path, whether that be electromagnetically, financially, whether it be giving you dopamine instead of what should it be? It should be serotonin, or if not serotonin, derivatives of MDMA, the ecstasy feeling within the skull. Oh, well, since the 90s, when they practiced on us lot with the rhubarb and custards and doves and haciendas and dreamscapes and fantasias, there is a sociological plan here of which they are using, in which to forge with their own hand force the the IQ, intelligence, sociological, civil, legal, lawful, families and estates, misters and misses, you name it, religion, financial. They think we are asleep and forgetful. In those pre-Gnostic texts, it says that when man has forgotten, and I'll leave it at that. And we're here to remind and give a little nudge. And it's nice when we see the lights come on and that there's somebody home and that you're ready and that you get your old kit bag, troubles packed up in your old kit bag. You come out and you say, "What we doing? I forgot all about this. Thank you for the reminder. Here's our Dave, Andy, whoever, with a quick reminder." So again, I remind you, billions of gallons of blood has been spilled in many a fashion since 1302, in the name of what? Peace, solidarity, freedom, rights, liberation. Okay, and when we've had these battles and these armadas and invasions and everything, we've sworn and we've installed, and we can never go back, and things will never be the same, and leaders and dictators, yes, have been taken down there. Saddam and Gaddafi, there you go, and we have this rule of fear everywhere, which is prevalent in man and how they react, and this commercial admiralty rule of consumerism, and that strips man of his compassion for another man, because you must get the deals and get in there, and we are being reduced via various levels of embarrassment in our retarded ways. Come on, Pazio, you see what happens when you I love you, scribes, but I've got to give a little mixture when we've got this. And we think we know it all, and you're too arrogant to say, actually, I messed up there, I put my foot in my mouth, I got that wrong, or actually I didn't know quite all of that, and I'm so arrogant, I refuse to bend and sway. But part of our beauty of this humanism, of this man's nature, of having a soul and a spirit, and the holy part, what is it, the Holy Ghost there, which is part of my spirit, my soul, my consciousness, is that when you realise a great many things, and there is no money and there is nothing else other than your existence and your time and what you do with it, then you can forgive quite easily. You really can. It's not a big, massive thing to be doing, but it is initially, when you learn this environment and what they want you to do and how they want you to act, and they want you to bail out, they want to get your estate quickly, they don't want you to cognitively learn who you are and articulate the legal claims and liability successfully back upon the claimant, blah blah blah. No, that's not certain stuff. We've got Oxford here, for the love of the man Jesus. Oxford is on this landmass. We speak this rubbish that we have here, absolute rubbish, common tongue of United Kingdom and Roman babble. It's an embarrassment to say we've got the world's biggest library, or let's rephrase, Europe's biggest library of words. I can't believe I'm going to say this. We have in Oxford, we've gone through Ox, bull, okay, they love the bulls, and the Ford, water, so that's it, barrier of water for bulls, has the Europe's biggest law and English library going. This landmass, Elizabeth, QE2, subsequent monarchical predecessors have allowed the good old Middle English, to be reduced by its grammatical and syntax and all these etymological. I shouldn't be here telling you about this. We should know about this. We should have been taught about it, and it should be one way, like the religion that we seem to be confused with, and the 30,000 derivatives they've given you of it. To be fair, back in the day, it appears we were kicking arse, we helped each other, we spoke one language, and there was a lot of gods, okay, and we had Enkidu and Lilith and others going about, and there was order. There was the same building on all of the continents, the same language, and the same theologian, worshipping more than one god. Is it theologic, something like that? And it was all tickety boo. And then some shit went down. They left, We was left with these monarchical, archonic type, rulers that have got the elite blood. That's where your Anunnaki, Nephilim, Noob, Nibiru, and whatnot kick in. And then you've got these, Egyptian godlike deities with, if it is Hermes and Thoth and Isis, Osiris, Horus, and all of the world, pilgriming to Egypt to drink from this reservoir of knowledge and maths and information and astrotheological. And, the big ones have gone now, and we're just left with these elite, some extent alien type, hybrid, human. I don't even want to go there, but yes. And then over time, there seems to have been factions upon factions of this differentness that have formed us to where we are today. And I, as God, Marstar, Rastar, Far Eye, I can't believe it. I cannot Adam and Eve it. It's a big old journey what we're on. And since what I've told you about, these battles and everybody that thinks they're right, and it's going to be, this is the last time, and it's been going on a while, hasn't it? And there's been a lot of blood, and we think we're clever, we think we're free. You get in your car and you can travel, and you can drive up the M1, and you're free. Well, you're still caged in, really. When you think about it, you need to get your papers, please, if you want to get on any kind of transport at Ion and travel across the sea, the pond, and go and, I know there are ways, but for the general masses, if you don't have that paper, which is soon going to be a chip, then you ain't going nowhere. So halt, stop, you park, arrest, whatever you want to call it. Papers, please. No papers, no go. Interesting, yes, when we need to control, we need order, we can do that. We could have one language, we could have one true, actual, real, where we should be. If we was all decent, okay, and we was intelligent, and half of us had any tenacity of which we claim to have, we would have all gone to our central governments on all of the continents and said, now then, enough mystery. What is the crack? What's going on here? How much do you know? Forced on freedom of information, subject access request, D-stars. We're beginning to show you there are tools there that we can use to extract by not force, that's their game, by requirement and wishing. If you wish upon a star, okay, not that kind of a wish, all right. It is my wish and requirement. Of you, you have a duty and an obligation. It's not something that I want to submit and want, and you've got an option. There is no option here. This is done as business, and when business is done correctly, you get what you want. When it's not done correctly and you don't know, then they run you around the houses and they laugh at you when you are, in your worst state. And this is the bit that we cannot stand. So yes, I'm going to continue on with the work here and the publications and getting it out and the emails and whatnot. I have had, though, believe me, a stark reminder, and it did make me, do this cast. So the universe and I have our own relationship. I don't know. Ooh, scratch that relationship tester. Yes, I know. Have our own way of communicating and dialogue. And I believe what I believe. It's nothing to put on you, but sometimes, yes, you can't avoid what is going, what is, to quote Smithy there, to what is actually is. Our brains and our psyches are a fantastically deep and wonderful place. I was listening to a man the other day, and he nearly made me sick because I could just about follow with what he was saying, but it was so out of the realm of where I've ever been with thinking about the brain and positions and consciousnesses and egos and so forth, that I thought, wow, you know what, there's a lot going off when you don't even really know it, and when you do analyse it and you see, and you've got the body language as well, it's a fantastic area, language and body language and psyche, consciousness, general overall. Study me. Geez, Louise, you have a field day. Be here for millennia, with weird quirks, and I know I'm working on that myself. But you yourself, and these alpha and beta waves are what they get us in. Simplest way of looking at it is that intelligent, massive machine you've got there with your reptilian and I'm not going to go through all of the dibbly bits of the brain. I'd struggle to be honest. I'm not a physician, but it's very, very easily manipulated, and you've got a powerful weapon there. You really have, all of you, a very powerful weapon, and that weapon, is not a vicious weapon, but it's a weapon in defense of attack within this universe, which we are not isolated, in my belief, but I believe there have been intelligent contact. It is evident and apparent and brimming out of every orifice that I mentioned at the beginning, with the jet stream hitting of, just even Göbekli Tepe. I've got so many things on the tip of my tongue. I'll be here for hours if I dare go down there. All right, scribes, tell me the most amazing thing that you found that you could not believe, that you had to slap yourself in the face with, and then had to go and watch it again to make sure it wasn't a dream, and it did really, and it has really, and you're like, my goodness me. This, if he was ever looking for any evidence, there's lots of it out there, so it's not our fault that we are waking up from, a hangover. We're all like, imagine yourselves, you've just been on the biggest rave bender, your first proper night out when you told your mum you were going around your friend's house, or, you were going out camping, as is my way, and, went out to a proper event, and that morning, that afternoon when you wake back up, and you're like, whoa, yes, and that's how we all are now. It's like we're waking up with this hangover, and we're not right sure. The eyes are stinging. And you're like, you're not newborn. No, you're not newborn at all. But you just, you're delicate. You're coming out of your rave. And you had a good time, and you was like, who was that DJ? That was some mad shit I ain't never heard. Be coming back for some more of that, and that's what we're doing here. We're entertaining. I'm sorry I'm using DJs and clubs and stuff, but it's all my brain can handle. This is a random little thing for you, so I know it's a battle there, and it is every day a battle to keep your soul. You've got the good and the evil, the devil there as well. So how you see it and how you play it, but the ones that have fallen, there will be more, and there's going to be lots more every day. All right, let alone just the missing. How we've got these amount of technological breakthroughs, but yet we have so many assets go missing every day. If I was Boris, if I had the power, sorry, no, rewind selector. Wow, we're having a lot of edits tonight. If I was Boris, oh dear, I'd be on a packet of cereal, wouldn't I? If I had Boris's appointed power there, I said power, sorry, authority, power, and get into this again, but I would insist, if I was, in that environment or anywhere near that, that every asset was issued United Kingdom, to protect that asset, a government, English, Anglo, GPS tracker to every family. Why? Because you're all assets to us and we love you, we care for you, and there's lots of you going missing, and we're not happy about this. It's costing us a lot of paperwork, investigation, police times. Sorry, worst of all, yes, I'm just doing it from a government point, not from my point. Worst of all, you actually are, in some cases, they are, they're not found, or they're missing, or they're found dead. So all of this horrendous atrocities we put up with, we've got them there to sort it out, but we're incapable of getting them to sort it out, so they never will. And what we're seeing is a mass degradation of, which has speared us on to do these key competencies, which is going back to something I've splintered off from massively. The key is there. You've got a lot of keys, meeting somebody, watching something, everything like that, that influences your character and unlocks a different part of your energy. That's all you need. And once you've got the key, we'll give you the basics. You're free to go on your own, and you can grow, and you can develop, and you can defend, and you can invest, and you can build, and you can turn into the alchemists that we've accidentally become, cross-pollinating the secular, dirty, Masonic, dark, cult because it's secret, you know, in some ways on its control level and deception and non-disclosure, but not, you know, a cult isn't dark and satanic, just the secretness. And then you've got you finding out whom you are, you know, the Walking Dead coming back to life. I have the power, He-Man, you know, shit. Everybody gets a battle cat, get in. And it's what you do with that, you know, where they have game shows where they give you the power, you see the power, you feel the power, you plug in and get the power, but you don't know that you're the power of all of the things, of all of the realm. I are the power, are the credence, are the authority. You know, if ever you've got lost along the way, you've strayed from the path, it's because you haven't got the key and you've become disconnected. You're speaking a load of babble and they've told you a load of bullshit. Sorry, but it's to do with the bull. So yes, we've got a long way to escape Castle Grayskull, aka the Crown and its frown. We have got plans. There is remedies out there. There are judicial realms of which there are honourable, I can't believe I'm going to say this, honourable justices of the peace, aka judges. They're not all, like we said about the constables and the officers and everything else, they're not all. It's just a few ruin it for the great many. There are some quick turnarounds that we are seeing and procedural changes and backtrackings and, you know, flexings of, but fallen we can't bring back. Hopefully they've moved on to a better place, and it's given you, you know, incentivized you. It shouldn't add fear, because there's nothing to fear except fear itself. And you know, we are moving and we are getting immeasurable results, strength, unity, and knowledge. The knowledge is blowing me away. It really has. Like I say, on 10 different areas, strength. So there's a picture pouring there allegedly in the data, and the download and whatnot is there. In an age of all of this information, ignorance is truly by choice. I wouldn't say it was bliss or indeed Hakuna Matata, tacit, tacitly, or even and or acquiescence. Incredible, where we're at and what they've done to us when we're good, honourable, men, women, souls. Our only crime here is ignorance, is not knowing, is lack of. If I was to ever get ordered to do something and it wasn't something that I found morally right, then I hope the order followers out there would take note of this little point of conjecture and say, no, you are us and we are you. There is no divide here, and that's what this system wants to do. It wants us to hate, and to hate the ones not even tolerate. But so that's where we are. A little bit Gandhi style there to some extent. If we're merging in flavours and characters and so forth, then we take a bit from all of the good ones, the great ones, the influential ones, the famous ones, even if they are Masonic to some extent or paid, like Gandhi and so forth, and the stories and whatnot have done so. Yes, the realm has been here for a long time. Let me say this, all right? It's been here for a shitload of years, and it ain't going anywhere fast. Not a prayer. You've got the connotations of the text there and the Gospels telling you where it's going from the big man who stands outside of all of time. So that should be some kind of reassurance for the ones that are in the circle of the book. And the ones that aren't, that are the agnostics and so forth, then I'm afraid that you rely upon faith in some form of another, because you go out there and I believe you're good and you're not evil. So you have your own faith in your own systems and you do believe in stuff. So you kind of, maybe lost and argumentative by nature, but I hear what you're saying, and I was there myself once. So the faith is there. It was a religion. We've made a new faith, and like I say, we are limiting as much as we can, the ones that do fall, how they fall, and you know, to stop the ones and the blood and the rivers and etc. and the heartache and the drinking and the violence and the family breakdown and the knock-on effects and the, you know, the non-building of society, the breakdown of society via 1,000 paper cuts coming through that mailing box system in the forms of legal aperture that directly affects the man and the family, you know, and the community, and it takes from it and it invests it in offshore tax havens. Once the inland revenue has checked it all with Her Majesty's Treasury and revenues and collections and customs, and they've used their clever little Admiralty commercial tax loophole dodging skills. Jimmy Carr, the comedian, Starbucks, you know, in previously, Boots the chemist, I believe. There's something in there as well. Sports Direct was in there with pregnant ladies and everything. You know, that's what I mean. They don't give a rat's ass. You're pregnant, are you? You're still a slave. Still a slave. You know, there's loads more out there that want a job. Don't you want your job? Oh, you got a baby, have you? Well, crack on then, love. You know what I mean? They make me sick. So that's where we're at. That's what we're stopping, and that's how we're moving. Julian, Jeez Louise, I'd still like to go and have a chat with him, I really would, just to make some noise, just to make the noise, you know what I mean? But little good would come. We haven't the time, there's too much on. We're focusing on home turf and the family immediate here, so my goodness, there is 20 in at this time, and it is 20 to bedtime, everybody. So thank you for the time that you share with me, and for the 7 thumbs up. We're going to go and say hello. I saw Jesus, and there's Michael, Ron. That blank screen is not good. No, it isn't. Some good mechanics and some right money grabbers. Yes, Jesus. Helps everyone. That's right. If everybody just helps one person run, one man, one family member, you know, I speak liberally. We're at ease, soldiers, but it would be evening. I see. Did you get the Santos charts, Dave? I know of my laptop that I use to read emails has had an update, and then it's somehow crashed after the update, so it's fixing itself. But because of the way things are, I have to use this this separate you know, media device here to look at the emails because of the risks of opening an infection and so forth. So yeah, I'll look at them tomorrow. It's I think it's 86% done when I checked it. It cast the clock when we cast it there, so I will do tomorrow. Tomorrow, my man. Thank you. I like that. Andy. Simon. Bullwater. Yes, man. I used to hate English at school. Me too. I really did. I struggled with it so bad. So bad. I did indeed. Yeah, that's it. I know, yes, indeed. It's too little too late, isn't it? I was so angry. John's in the house. Yes, John. Nice one, brother. Easy. He's one true. I think he must have caught 90% of my live cast, John. I have noticed what? He always gets there. Easy, Jerry. Yes, it is meant to. Indeed it is, jeez. Night shift, just listening in. Alright, Jerry, nice one. Back, rain heavy on the Iron Horse. I like being in the Iron Horse when it's rainy. Sometimes it's nice and dry and you got everything functioning well. It's a pleasure, isn't it, when you go down travelling around and you think, oh, this, how clever man is. What I mean is, yeah, not how clever man is, but what we can do, you know, and how we can achieve things. But yet, you know, we still have paper-based credit systems that are hundreds of years old. We are slaves due to lack of action. Yes, Pieman, like I said, we are simply incapable due to our lack of statuses and the warranted, the assumptions and the presumptions. This system has got us hook, line and sinker. We are incapable of effectively enforcing any action, and what we do go for and what they do give us is just laughable. It's simply no remedy in any man's eyes. They get away with it. They obfuscate the truth. They proportion. They create. They get caught with their hands quite dirty a lot of the time, and we put up with it. So yes, the roads. I'm going to go out tomorrow and film those same potholes that were there over a month ago, and nobody's done anything. I've wrote into them and said, and I know others have. So I'll go and film it again and say, here we go, substance over form. They just leave it. There's no accountability, is what we would call it in this business realm. Yeah, they're not. We're not able to be able to hold them to account, but they're holding us to account very much so. We're getting spanked left, right, and centre. Decisions on streaming software tomorrow, Michael. You'll get an update tomorrow, maybe, if there's there's alternatives out there. Then yes, we'll look at them definitely. We'll take the recommendations and we'll evaluate them. I'll have a word with the boys, see what they think. Yes, I'd like to develop our own. I'd like to see what options we could use with maybe some promotions, some cooperations. I'm not sure yet. We'll sit down and have a think, but sometimes we can come up with some clever ideas. Business, you see, for the trust, yeah, .com, trade, private, we can get some trade done. We'll see. You can get it done for free, but there's a big gap in the market there. So I'm optimistic. There's already some options we can use that others are. But as we go forward, and if there's an option we've got quite a bit of space, and we could upgrade the site and get unlimited storage space at a very very steep increase. But once that steep increase has been attained, then it's several £100, over 600, I think, the next level. It gives you ultimate everything. That's the top level then, because we're on the middleish level now. Then we could look to hosting a lot more of the resource archive. There's already 212 documents. If you haven't seen the .com on SPLS Pro, I have put 2 secret documents on the bankers. Secret document manual and something else. These are not guides. They are it's something else. Just says it like that, but they're secrets. I'm very tired. I'm off topic now, so excuse me. But they're just for study and for you to laugh at generally, I suppose. When you hear some of them, they're not our works, but they've been shared with me, and as I take great pride in sharing everything with a fan, sharing the information that we find here on the cast. So even if you're not on the .com, I'll come and give you the bare bones of it, and then you do with it what you want. Elderly, all right. When we've talked about the elderly, the sick, the youth, we have a responsibility here to the family, the weak members of the tribe, and infirmed, insane, isn't it? You're infirmed or you're insane. And there was another in as well. Infantry, all right. Military, and that's infant though as well. Infancy, infantry, infancy, in fancy dress, in fancy dress. That's why children get into fancy dress. Shh. Infancy dress, infancy dress. It's just a mind trick. It's the worst type of sick little non-Jedi like. Not that Jedis are great because the George Lucas and that's Hollywood and that's all just generally as much as I'd love to love them, but we keep on. You see, these things are just like, actually it's just jumps out the brain. It's very simple, it's very technical, and those three, the infancy and the insane and the infirmed, are our primary point of concern, because they are the ones that can be easily manipulated and abused and don't often have the backup support network, witnesses or capability to get the counterclaim damages and so forth, and the easy targets like the single mums that Big Barry goes for. Hey up, Sheila. You know, so yeah, we're limiting it, we're doing well, the brakes are on, we're putting cogs in, the red tape's out there, all lawfully, all effectively, very concisely, articulately, and that's it. I've said my piece. We are done. 20 scribes still at 10 to 12. So I'll take it from you, your comments, your thoughts. What do you see out there that gets you? Anybody got any homeless anywhere on the towns, in the corners of the streets? Is there anything happening in the areas that I need to be made aware of? The new things that you're seeing? Using food banks or anything like that, you know, is it coming close? Are you all living comfortably? Have you got your assets secured for a Brexit on Halloween, you know, and so forth? Have you invested it anywhere? Well, you know, are you leaving it in the bank and you're going to just let the inflation gamble game play ahead and see what they do with the stock markets, assets, collateral? It's all going to happen. It's all going down. So it's over to you, and then we're going. We are done. And once again, for those that have had family affected, lost, split up, you know, dads out there, mums out there that are, you know, in this situation, and you've lost and you've had the worst case scenario, then I'm sorry for that, you know. Deepest condolences and sympathies. Nothing can bring anybody back. We say everything happens for a reason, but some things are preventable. Like, you know, not telling man lies about things that wouldn't get him upset, her upset, them upset, they upset, and then end their lives prematurely. You know, that we carry, and each one we find out about, it does make us sad. Even though you think, well, you don't know anybody, Dave, and you're just a man on YouTube trying to make money and blah, blah, blah. Well, we actually do care, as you see. We actually do try. We're not here to take your money or make money. We're here to show you what go on in our realm, and it's about time. So again, you know, we are sorry, and we do feel that, and I hope you know that we are genuine and we do speak from the heart. You know, we do have a spirit, we do have a soul, and when we make a mistake, an error or anything, you know, we're quickly here to correct it, to say, you know, as often is the case with me, and foot in mouth man, but you know, we get better, we get through it, it's all good. We're very sorry. We try to limit that by giving you everything that you would need to defend your castle, you know, make you feel protected, safe, fearless gods and goddesses that you truly are, the masters of your realm, these Westminsters and, you know, past stars and everything else with the stairs, and here you are, little old you, the debtor, you know. I'll just get me coat, you know, sorry about that. Without you and I, there is no bond, alright? If there wasn't no you and I, no bonds, these lot, their system, you know, wow. They wouldn't have this, would they? Now we are, by the fact we are here, presented in the present, crowned and, you know, kicking arse, means that we are the source of all of their power. Indeed we are. We've got ways of making systems, fam. We got some ideas for some systems, so once I've got the Queen to see her mum and back again, bearing in mind we're in the 200,000 mile club and we've got a 3,000 mile round trip minimum, I'm confident we'll make it. I'm confident the horse will make it, testament to its maintenance and traveller, captain, stroke, owners, etc. Indeed. So we'll focus on more attentive, acute things then, get these documents published before we go. The last part of the key competence. Emails answered, up to date. And then while you've got the documents, we'll work on the grading and the questions as well that we're going to ask you. And then when you've got that, you will take that via email and use it or you take it on the .com, but it will be made available for all. It will not be coveted and kept occult. It will be given away gladly, freely through the avenues, and you're welcome to share that, authorised and needed to share that for your communities to use as a self-governing, tool for your defences. Now we'll let the commissioners and the ministers and the Met Office and the rank and files know who we are and what we've done and why we're doing it, and the generals will be noticed. Furthermore, there shall be no plausible deniability on this, because we've printed it and sent it you, we've articulated it, referenced it, it's on your own .gov.uk website and on the Catholic Church website. So after you've read and digested all of that, elect ministers, trustees, principals, etc., you'll understand where we stand now, don't we? Yes we do. Okay, and then we move forward like that, and we carry on with the publications and further strengthening it, unless they silence us. We will not be sold. Trust has the .com saved. It will not be bought. It cannot go anywhere unless they take it away or stop us from operating at it. So at that point, kill switches are due to be activated, don't you worry. Clones and copies and backups are made of everything. That's part of the digital industrial revolution. The technology is fantastic, absolutely smashing, super great. Yeah, you're right, you can claim for the damage from the local arm of the government, your council. Steve-O, easy, how we doing? Of the Drake clan. Important in before port revenue. Yes, that's it. Import, got you. Important, I'm port, ant. Yeah, sorry, nice one, Joe. We have no Mars stars, Pie Man in the house, Mars stars. Stop it, you're like that's proper Boatelli. Go. You madheads, calm down, you 20. Thanks for sticking around. I think we've done then. I think we've paid homage and respect to all of the speakers, all of the ones. We've covered all of the spectrums of the fallen. Respect, love, and I could even do a minute silent if you want to close it down and just to show, that I'm sorry. Well, you're sorry. We're all sorry. Sorry doesn't get anywhere. Much like that story with the father and the son and the tax in the fence. You pull the tax out the fence and there's a hole there. We leave a scar, and we've scarred each other. By accident, sometimes maliciously, but when the system scars us, when we can see a legal system scarring our family daily, when it can be stopped, then, that's where we have to say, up now then, Ecky Thump, come on. A few words here you can say, stops all of that, a few notices here, there and everywhere, stops all of that. Should do, hopefully, if they listen. There's that aspect too. So, I had a real harrowing, I'm sorry, anybody that gets heat synchronicities, and everybody gets them, it's just whether or not anybody that gets them. Let's rewind that one, edit. Anybody who happens to notice the synchronicities that the universe is things putting out in front of you, if you're into this realm and you read things, then from me to you, it was horrible. It was really horrible. It stopped me in my tracks early in the morning, and it was about death, and it was right in front of me. I was like, okay then, wow, I see. All right, no problem, I'll deal with it. Didn't affect my day, but it did, affect my thinking for a little bit. Everything is rosy when it's, fine and good and the music's playing. But then when the lights come on and the music stops and it's time for everybody to go home, real life, the real picture is there. So, real picture here on this Anglo landmass is that we think we're big, we're clever, we're free, we're self-governing, and that we're very clever. We're British, don't you know? What? We go everywhere and call everybody else foreigners, and everybody's expected to speak English, which isn't English. It's a slave tongue of Babylonian entrapment. So it's a real sorry state that we, this hangover that we find, the hangover, as in not the comedy, The Hangover, but since 1302, yes, and here we are today. It's a massive hangover, the 1500s, the 16, the 17, everything that's gone off. So, we're saying, so many years since going to the moon and so many years since this and the anniversary of that. Well, we need another day. Man's I don't know what we're going to call it here, but I need help with the founding and establishing of a day that we have in honour of the work, or the truth that has come out, to stamp it in time. But thanks fam, scribes. I'm sorry about not coming on the camera all the time, but I'm just trying to be a bit more private and sensitive with the data. It's nothing against you. It's others that are looking and watching and spying and noticing and making comments and trying to see, every aspect into for, reasons of which is not required or necessary. So I do want a green screen and a little proper setup and something to dazzle you with and get animations going and things. And I can't wait, but that's some time off, I fear, in light of the work that needs to be done currently. Video effects, all right, and the pleasantries and the professionalism is going to have to take a back seat until the good work is done. And it's going to be like this for a bit. We'll come on camera when we sort everything out, and you got to remember, to protect yourself and your data and your things, and just stay focused. Sovereign, yeah, I am sovereign. I don't use that as much as I should. It's a big word. It's a powerful word. It's not just for the Queen, let me tell you, but you don't need to worry about that. Sovereign, self-governing is what it is. It's independent. It's responsible for oneself. It follows. You would include common law. You would be equitable within everything. You respect the environment, the plants, the fellow brethren, the animals. Life in general itself. Good-natured. Something with substance and good ethics. Morality, compass. And all of that without having to be told. That's essentially, everybody's main, objective every day. And I know you will do that. This system comes out and calls you a crook, a thief, a delinquent, and the way they do it and the systems that they use and the environments, like the ones like, here's a story, like the ones that are detained that are on medication, yeah? Well, what about the medication? Well, we didn't get it on time. What do you mean you didn't get them on time? It's medication they've been taking for 8 years. Yeah, you've held somebody on a civil issue. There's no crime. It was a breach of something. Somebody got offended, but this man or this woman has not had any medication for over the weekend, and then you've let them out and they've reoffended again, and it's just a vicious loophole of which, it needs addressing. They are not qualified to house ones that are on either medication or that are mentally a little bit less able and that need and require proper care. That don't, they get kicked out by austerity. They end up with it. So you see what I mean? It's when we say the fallen ones, they end up falling too, and they're innocent, absolutely innocent. The only thing they're guilty of is not being compos mentis, and that's no crime. There should be some angelic natured protector of all, and that's us. I'm afraid that's our job. That's what we need to establish. That's where we're going to stop all of this, to come together and have a council of man for the love of. Something simple like that would do. Well, have you asked the council of man? Yes, the council of man say yes. Be a bit like Uncle Ben, but better, efficient, non-corporative, alive, with a soul and a conscience and love. You know, I don't. The assembly, the council, the trustees, the protectors. There's many things that you could look at doing there, but we need to have something fast, and we need to establish it. It could be north, could be south, could have localised, can have satellites, but these poor little family members, you know, I want to take them all out of the government and just all look after them and sort it out, you know, and have centres built specifically for them. Well, actually, build the centres first, then let's get them moved out into the centres that we've got built. Not take them out first and temporarily house them wherever, I don't know, the affected poor ones, not them as in them of any kind, but the ones that are with the government there that are getting rinsed, okay, and neglected and left in cells. That father who found out his daughter was left in isolation and on drugs and so forth when she wasn't a criminal, and he's taken them to the High Court for remedy. You know, it's not acceptable, and not every daughter, son, you know, man even, afflicted one in the state care and guardian trusteeship has got, you know, anybody to fight for them, and that's worrying. You know, if you was in that dark place and you was at the mercy of systems and computers and AI and somebody forgot, you know, wow, it does happen. Or you go missing and nobody notices you go missing, and they know you've got nobody that notices you go missing. What? And they use that against you. So, you know, just bear that in mind, that there's a lot out there that we see, and I want to say sorry again, and that it's not funny in the slightest. There's no joking area here. With some of the topics and things that we see, I have a little tear, you know, sometimes, because you know and you see and you've seen, and once you've seen a few things, you can imagine quite a lot of others, and it doesn't take a far-fetched imagination to materialize an image of these pictures and news reports in your mind as you're reading them, and they're becoming more and more frequent and more harrow. A teenager throws 6-year-old off balcony. What the actual, you know? So if somebody, and we are not somebody, i.e. David, but somebody, i.e. David, and here we go, Jesse, Pyman, John, you know, that's all I can see there for some reason. That's all it's chatting. Andy, Michael. If we don't all get into this and start pulling the fingers out, then yeah, it's going to be family members that we actually know soon. You know, locally even, and more and more agendas and objectives and military targets. You know, we are not the subject of anything. Never shall you be the subject of, I would say, argue, and subservient, sub nothing. You are my scribes at the same level. Tribes, scribes, shamans, herbalists, stars, etc. At the same or above, never below. You know, and for that, you know, we've got a bit of working to do, haven't we? A bit of working to do on that, I'd say. Thank you for the 13 thumbs up, and new scribers, John, bless you. Much love for all of the comments. Pieman, Jerry. But when I checked it out, it looked like Justinian stuck his head into and that way of thinking was the start of dog-letting slavery. Ah, interesting. I've stopped watching Justin. I've got what I need, and he hasn't, truthfully, for me, he hasn't delivered what I thought he could deliver, and I did want to have a chat. I'm not sure about this setup, the way that it is. The information looks good, and we've learnt a lot. So, you know, I've got to that stage where I'm on my own path, and I don't know who to believe, all right, and what to believe. So much like Win Miller, Davidos. I haven't watched him because I wanted to go on my own path and my own journey and pick up what I needed to pick up when I picked it up. And if it was confusing or too deep, I'd come back to it later. And I'm at the end of this journey, and I reckon that those would have influenced and ruined my learning and my curve, because it was kind of naked from the start, and then it was influenced along the way. So Justinian has helped me to a certain point, but then I think it's a little bit of a curve, because all the realm has a certain remedy, and it's not too far wrong for us all, you know. it's not too far different for all of us. So we're going to say good night. Much love. Bless you, Jerry. Thank you for that. Pie man, peace and love. Back at you. Dick. Sean Harris from John. Thank you, brother. Anubis. Yeah, so I love you, Scribes. You are the best. Usual 20, the usual suspects that come on when, not that it's a bad thing, I'm just saying there's a good hardcore 20 of you that pick up the cast and the feed and come on and interact and chat. And I know you're not all chatting, but thank you all. Brothers, sisters, bro stars, sea stars, scribes, shaman, herbalists, Famalan, digital warriors, equity, keepers of the realm, the civil enforcement officers there that we have doing that. There's another sidetrack that I didn't finish that I'll wrap up with now. Well saved, Dave. Back of the net. Civil, well, let's have law then. Enforcement, let's have enforcement of law. Officer, let's have law enforcement. What? Agent, trustee. That's what there should be. There shouldn't be any officers on them streets. There should be trustees there. Civil enforcement officer. And I went onto the officer realm, didn't I, and said they're not all bad, and then went off and lost it. But I've caught my thread back. Yes, sir. You just think about that. What you're doing, you're enforcing as a civil officer. That's simply what you're doing there. You're not in any law. All right. It says civil enforcement officer. There's no mention of law. No mention of police. It's a civil issue, which is not criminal, which is everybody's bag, everybody's. Enforcement, well, I don't know about enforcing anymore. That word needs to be changed. That practice, we need to stop that. We hear that word too much, and we've let it lie. And you shouldn't let it lie, should you? As Vic and Bob told us, you shouldn't let it lie. And Uncle Peter, so yes, enforcement, an officer, well, he should be a trustee really. An officer belongs on a ship, as we all know, and we're pointing out. So civil enforcement officer would be a law, a law, not an enforcer then, so that we would be, well, I do like de-enforcement, but a law, protector. Trustee, law trustee would do, a trustee of law, in law, at law, no it's at, yes, well done. Force, indeed. It's Clint, I was mad, now I know, not now, yes, I. Be encouraged and anointed family, we are Guardians 7, yeah, thank you for that, I like that, anointed famalands. Together, strong arm, indeed, together. Sovs are on a great path. Man is on a great path. Yes, Andy, thank you very much. We're trying our best. We are a small fam, you.com, and those that we've got on the other networks. So I'll keep updating you. We'll keep churning it out. We'll keep doing the do. And again, honour, love, respect for them fallen, for the ones that have lost, for the ones that have had it, for you, because you've all been in a dark place. We've all fallen down. We pick ourselves up. That's what we do. That's how we do it. So, yes, well done for picking yourselves up and staying strong. And if you're not strong, we're here for you till you are. Much love. Ciao, bello. Stay strong, my scribes.